Those are just what these are what
It was
we
flashing
currently
before.
have.
Oh, and now it's making that.
And then we'll work with you
Test,
to know what positions we need for
test.
next year already.
Okay.
For at least the fall. We're
So
gonna-
that it's at least connected to the
A
computer,
lot of change or?
but I don't know if anybody can hear
Across
us.
the country.
I was about to say, Mr. Stuckich, can you hear us?
Hey, here we go.
Can you hear us?
You're
Yeah?
about
Okay.
10 seconds behind.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna shut that.
For those listening in, thank you. We're having some technical difficulties. We're going to be able to move forward tonight with only audio, no video, but at least you guys can hear us. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call us to order now that we've got this working. The time is now 6:42, January 16th. This is the regular scheduled board meeting for Liberty Tree Academy School Board. Let me do a roll call and establishment of the quorum. Mr. Stowich.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Geithner is here, obviously. Mrs. Russell.
Here.
And Mrs. Helland.
I am here.
Very good. We have a quorum. Let's move on to item number 3, which is Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Johnson, if you could do this, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. And Mr. Stowich, if you would please read our mission and vision.
All right, the LTA mission. Liberty Tree Academy prepares students through a traditional, content-rich education in a disciplined and orderly environment to be self-governing students who are equipped to carry out the vision of our nation's founders to preserve and perpetuate liberty. Our vision, Liberty Tree Academy, is dedicated to an authentic, traditional American education to be a community that actively cultivates character in a challenging and engaging learning environment.
Very good, thank you. Our founding fathers quote is brought to us by James Madison. It will not be denied that power is of an encroaching nature and that it ought to be effectually restrained from passing the limits assigned to it. And let's go on to the approval of the agenda. We do need to make 2 amendments to this agenda. Under our discussion items, we need to add 2 items. The first one would be a new item which would be E. That would be the parent engagement team. We have some bylaws. I think Mr. Stowich is going to just give us a little update. No action item there. And then a new F, which would be principal hiring procedures. So those would be the new E and F under discussion. And then a new action item, which would be B, and that'll be adopting our principal hiring procedures. Those are the only amendments that I have, unless there's further amendments that we need to consider. Seeing nothing and hearing nothing, if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
Very good. And a second, please.
Second?
Any objection? Seeing no objection, we have our agenda adopted. Let's move on to board member reports. If anyone has anything that they would like to add since last we met. Seeing no takers, we will move on to principal report, item number 8.
So the first page has our current enrollment numbers as well as our projected enrollment for next year. So let me know if you have any questions on those. We do have potential new students starting next week to add to this year's. And then do you guys I think I had emailed everybody the difference between the 2
Yes.
numbers. That does make sense.
And what is the change from last board meeting to this board meeting, do you know?
With our current numbers, we're down 2 students.
Okay.
Yep.
And then for the intent to enroll in new applications, that's up, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have openings, so, and we put that updated information on the website as well. So we've had some more trickling in with those.
I think what would be helpful is for the new applicants for the enrollment for next year, just so that we can see, like, so K through 6, if we're maxed out, there should be a total number of seats that we have K through 6.
Right.
So maybe what that is, like, what are we tracking as coming in, and then what seats would be full? Does that make sense? So we can see that delta, and then the same for 7th and 8th and 9th and 12th. My gut tells me that 9th through 12th is going to have more capacity. And so just being able to say, and then it may even be, if that's where the most of our capacity is going to be 9th through 12th, maybe what a breakdown of those actual grades are for each. Does that make sense? That would be helpful. Because then we know what do we need to be striving for, and where can we be striving? Or where can we strive?
And we were at 592 at the last board meeting for the intent to return the new application.
Yeah, I thought it was below 600, so.
Very good. Okay. Okay.
So we just had our staff meeting this last week up here, and the discussion during the meeting was the wish list that we could use the MLO funds for. I'll talk slowly so Mr. Markle will make it back for his athletics. We do have 2 staffing positions open right now, both of them are coaching positions that we're hiring for our upcoming spring sports. And then we have assessments that we're prepping for with all of the state testing in the PSAT and SAT. So those are about to kick off, so we're about to start some training for those with the teachers. And then again, just kind of planning and prepping for all of those upcoming testing, tests that go on in April. Do you want me to wait for Mr. Rocco to come back?
If you want, why don't we just go to the next item and then we can always circle back?
Though I know he enjoys sharing his. With the whole school update, we have a virtual awards assembly tomorrow morning for the whole school, and this will be for the virtual award winners from the first semester. This week has been busy with drills. So on Tuesday, we had our first practice lockdown drill, and it was kind of like a slow operating where we had PowerPoint slides that went out, and the teachers and the whole building had the PowerPoint slides, and so they went over it with the students that day before we had the drill. And then we used actually the LifeSpot app, and so when we were back last week with our staff meeting, we had Mr. Kistler was here, and he went through the LifeSpot training with the whole staff, and again, setting off the alarms and talking through everything, making sure all of our newer staff were updated on there. And so we went ahead and used that app during the lockdown drill, which is really nice because again, we just wanted the teachers used to hearing that sound and getting the kids into the habit of when they hear that, we automatically go into lockdown. The kids did fantastic.
Do you know if there were any teachers who didn't get that alert?
There were a couple, and so we have been, we've already reached out to LifeSpot. It's more of like, it'll go off on their watch, but not their phone, or it would buzz, or, you know, that kind of thing. So there's been back and forth communication today between myself and Mr. Kistler and LifeSpot, and those teachers.
Is that the only feedback? That is? Okay. It might be helpful to see and solicit directly from faculty and such, like if they have any thoughts about how it went or what have you, just so that we know. After action reviews of something of that nature, I think is always good to be intentional about soliciting feedback. So if we get some feedback, if no one has anything, that's fine. But at least if we're asking the question, if there is feedback, then we've got that as to how that rehearsal went.
We have an all school staff meeting tomorrow afternoon. So
Perfect. Okay, perfect.
So
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Can we
Go
Can
ahead.
we go back to staffing? Because I just got and it's kind of hard to hear Miss Summers. Not her fault, but I just got the principal report.
Okay.
Going back to staffing, are we not replacing the lower school Spanish teacher?
that we're putting on, we're gonna be looking for right now, actually we have an application that's a bilingual person. So we're looking for either a full-time teacher for the semester or a long-term sub for the semester.
Okay, and then also on the website, the principal position is still open. And it looks like we're still taking applications, and that closed on the 5th.
I think that posting actually says that it closes on the 5th, Jenny. Can you look at the bottom of it?
I'm gonna look at it.
It should be on like the final page, I believe.
Oh, it does say that. Okay.
So
But
just,
it's still up there, so we might wanna
just
either
remove it.
either put a note that it's closed or take it off.
Yeah.
We'll take that out tomorrow. And then we also, next week, we're actually gonna be doing kind of like part 2 of the lockdown drill, if that makes sense. So no slides, but just using the LifeSpot app, and then running the drill. So we have, we use Mr. Gonzalez, and then his supervisor, Adrian, came this last week, and he brought one other of his staff members, as well as Mr. Kistler, just to help run the drill, and get the students used to seeing security or law enforcement at the end of the drill to be the ones that come out and release them from the classrooms. So they'll be helping us next week with that drill as well.
Okay.
And then today, we did our first fire drill for the 2025 year, but it was, as much as I said, it was the best one of the year. It really was for the whole school year. The kids did a really great job on their fire drill today. For elementary school, the 4th grade assembly is coming up next Friday, where they're going to be reciting Paul Revere's Bride. And then the fire safety presentation for 2nd grade is coming on the 31st. We have quite a few things going on the 31st. And this is going to be great because they come out and they kind of walk the kids through fire safety and things like that. And then 2nd grade assembly is on February 7th. One of the new things Upper School is doing this year that Ms. Coleman started with us, for us, is the Poetry Out Loud competition. So Upper School students have been practicing reciting poems, and then they're having competitions in their classrooms. And then on the 29th, all of the students who won in their classrooms are going to be basically presenting and reciting their poetry in an assembly with Upper School on the 29th. The 31st, no lunch for the district, so Stuco is going to be serving pizza as one of their fundraisers. We also have a winter formal for the 7th and 8th graders that night. And then 7th graders also going to a field trip to the Denver Museum of Nature and Science with Ms. Kaiser. Ms. Rogers has started for us a Chipotle night, which is a fundraiser. So we're going to push out to the families on February 8th. Anybody that goes to our local Chipotle and says that they're with LTA, then a portion of the proceeds from that evening will go towards the school. And Mr. Markle, the students have started their kindergarten enrollment this year with the Western and Adams State University that we've been working with this year. He is currently working with Morgan Community College. They have some better courses that they offer, and they also offer some compensation for the teachers. And so Mr. Markle is working with them as far as working on that partnership, and so we would look at transferring over to working with them next year instead of Adams State and Western. And so those are some of the courses that they have for the students. So it's exciting, and there's a potential, again, if you see there, for 15 to 18 credits that the students could earn for next year. So we're just trying to kind of step it up each year, what we can offer for our high school students.
Is that a brick and mortar college or is it a virtual college? I've never heard of that. Okay.
And Mr. Markle knows someone from there
Awesome.
that he's been working closely with. So that's been really great. A couple of things for our facilities report. Our lunch van that we use, the person who was driving it backed into something, and so there's some minor scratches on the rear bumper, and so we're just waiting to hear how we need to proceed with that repair. It's really just a small dent that you can really barely tell that's on there, but it kind of then goes in with some other rust things that are on the van, and then where it was left into is starting to kind of splinter on the top. So at some point, looking at getting those repairs done. And then I do have a sheet, if you guys would like a copy of it. There was a restroom stall downstairs in the girls' bathroom over the weekend that was damaged and needs to be replaced. And then previously we had 2 from last year that were needing to be replaced as well. And so the company that we used originally to build the bathroom, their quote is $639 so that it would actually per door, and those would match the ones that we currently have. Otherwise, you're looking at having to replace all of them. So the $639 per bathroom door to be replaced.
You said that was damaged over the weekend?
Yeah, so Mr. Jones has been pulling cameras to try. It's so hard with the bathroom because you can, right? You can see when they're going in, but you can't. We know that it happened after the cleaning on Friday evening, and then at some point before church on Sunday, because I got a text from the pastor on Sunday.
Okay.
So
Got it.
we're narrowing it down, and really there's like 2 groups that were here, so we're trying to figure out between those two what happened while no one else was here in the building, staff-wise during school hours.
Gotcha.
We do have 3 requests out for landscape and snow removal options. We're waiting to hear back from some of them. I did put the top ones that you guys have paper clipped in there, top of the pieces who currently use. So the highlighted part at the bottom with the $416.67 is our monthly fee, regardless of what happens. What happens? We get paid extra, or we have to charge extra for the snow removal. And then the 2 behind it were quotes that Mr. Crandall has in so far, and then he's waiting for 1 more to come back as well. That he's not it. So we'll keep you updated on the 3rd company once he hears back from them. Reach back out.
What advantage does the first one provide if you have to pay additionally for the snow removal?
Well, they also do all of our landscaping and their sprinklers and things throughout the year.
Okay.
Again, we feel like they're pricey for what they offer, which is why we would really like to switch to another company that's more cost effective, but also has higher quality service. Because it does seem like we get charged for a lot of extra things, even when it came to sprinkler repair, right? It's on top of that monthly cost.
So what does the monthly cost cover?
Those cover like our landscaping during the year, if that makes sense.
So like summer months, and then they would
Right, but like
blow out the hoses for the,
weeding, or, I mean, is it,
they do in certain areas, but it's not all over the property. So I think it's the front, and then
Like sections around here.
So are we
along
getting
the brick wall.
these snow and ice management contracts? Have we asked them if they provide those other services and what their cost would be? Or
That's what
is it
Mr.
only-
Crandall's speaking with them about.
Perfect, okay.
okay, because I know F&B on their, I think it's on C, it's one of those, but it specifically states that their full-time customers will have priority. So, yeah, under F, last sentence, it is also understood that signed year-round maintenance contracts will have priority. So I'm just,
They have an option.
And which, when we do have Top of the Peak, you don't have to call them to come out. That's part of our contract, is that they're out here and they know what time they need to be here on a school day to get everything cleared, or on the weekends for church. So I will get you the other proposals with those coming from Mr. Crandall. And then he also has been speaking with a welder, and so he's waiting to hear back the exact cost. So it's basically like those metal poles, right, that then have the gate that go across. So he did speak with the fire department. We can get those in back there, because he said the fire department basically said their main access that they need is out of the front, so they're okay with us blocking the back. And if they need to get through it, they have a truck, so they would get through it. So the estimate for the parts is around $3,000, and so Mr. Crandall's speaking with different welders to get their pricing on them being able to install it and get those things in place. So as soon as we have those quotes for the labor, then
Okay.
we'll let you know those as well.
Got it.
Okay, on the business office side, I sent the financials yesterday, updated for December. I'm trying to make sure that things are closed off on the 10th of each month, so that it gives me more time to get them to you sooner. It just happened that January we were until the 6th, so it just kind of worked out that way. Been speaking with Jill Besma at EAEI for the capital needs assessment. They seem to know, they seem to be very knowledgeable about the capital needs portion. The only thing I have to do is find the agreements from phase 1 and phase 2 of Liberty Tree. And once that's done, they can start kind of calculating how much it's gonna cost. So if I'm not able to get that, I'll have to probably go to the engineer or whoever we had.
I would think, hey, Jenny, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here because you were here during that time.
I can't hear a lot. So
Oh.
what was you saying?
For the needs assessment piece,
Okay.
it's on page 3.
Yeah, that's the one that was something about. I don't know what that is, but I know that it says that it's locked in Hans' computer or something. Explain that to me.
So I have access to Mrs. Hand's computer, but when they downloaded the files, they didn't download properly.
Can you hear okay?
Yeah, but what
Okay.
is it?
Phase 1 and phase 2 agreements for when they built Liberty Tree Academy. So the first
Okay.
phase in 2018, when they built the first portion.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I'm looking for, are the
Blueprints?
floor plans, yep, and all of the different items.
That's
throughout the
not
school.
contained somewhere in the school.
What's that?
She asked if it's not contained somewhere in the school.
I did handle some paperwork I received that might have it in there. It's a binder.
Is it involved?
You do?
I gave it to Mr. Manley,
Okay.
so it's in his office. It's this thick.
Okay,
Yeah, I went through it. It's a lot of
I can
information.
look through that.
Okay.
It might be in. And it had a lot to do with the school. It's had some building plans in there. So I don't know if it's the exact same. Did you see that binder that?
I have a binder that, because I was here for the second phase. The first phase, I don't know a lot about, but I know that there were a lot of draws, and so there's gonna be a lot of paperwork to go
Yeah.
through to find some of the agreements, because I don't know how well she kept documents. So I can look, but I was hoping it was digital so that I could put it in a Dropbox and
Send it.
just give it to her.
Right.
All right.
So,
Okay. What's the timeline?
I mean, I will tell you, I don't have anything.
Okay. Okay.
So the building corp was Bert and Ronnie at the time.
Yeah.
and Peter's.
And then after I left and they were conflicted, was that Bill?
Yes.
Bill took that role. Bill, I don't
Okay.
have his contact info.
I do.
So that might be another place to look.
Okay.
And I don't even remember. It was like Timber something that did the construction, but I can't remember who they are.
Okay. What
was
was
out of
did
Utah.
do you know if Dustin had a role in any of that or no?
Dustin did, yeah.
Okay. So Dustin will be my second
He
call.
did all of our contracts.
Okay. And then Miss Miller, let's put in terms of a suspense, like a date. Are you trying to get this information to her by a certain date?
Yeah, I was hoping to get it to her by this week. It just happens that there's a lot of stuff going on this week.
Okay.
So I just haven't had a lot of time to look.
Okay. When does it need to be completed by?
We just have to have someone picked out and a price range, and then 30 days notice to the investors so that they can say yay or nay and
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So it's not like there's a hard line date,
Okay.
but it would have been nice if it was done already.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Okay.
So I think Highmark School Development had something to do with it as well.
Is that HIGH or HI?
HI.
Hi, Mark. Got it.
I don't remember if that was something we looked into or if they actually did help us.
Okay.
I'm just trying to go through my what I have,
Okay.
and it's not very much.
Got it.
So the phase 2 won't be so difficult, but the phase 1 is the one that I,
Right. Because you were here for phase 2.
right.
Got it. Okay. Phase 1. Okay. All right.
We are reviewing a couple of different IT groups for 25-26. There's one company called Inspiraz that is used through, they do strictly charter schools. We're meeting with them tomorrow, and we'll kind of have a better idea of what the cost will be. But we've heard really good things about them. So, and they've been really receptive to to our questions and stuff like that. So we've got an inventory list of the different things that we'll want them to kind of oversee, and so just see what it costs.
If they just work exclusively with charters, do we know any other charters that we have relationships with that they're working with, or no?
I can find out.
Okay.
Yeah. I know one is James Irwin.
Okay.
But others, no.
Okay.
And
It was Canyon Building and Design that did phase 1. And it was managed, the project manager was Vanir, Vanir,
Would you do me a favor? Would you just email that directly to Miss Miller?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be helpful. Okay, perfect.
I was digging.
Okay, thank you. In some ways, I'm glad you're remote right now. So.
Yeah, right.
So I'll have more information
Okay.
on that one. Completed the exemption form for the Colorado Secure Savings Program. Just had to prove that we had a retirement plan that was sufficient for the Colorado Treasurer. We were able to upload the amended budget with resolutions onto the website. Of course, the 990 extension is good through May. So that is also up on the website.
Okay.
El Chagande, Summers, myself, and Lovato had talked regarding READ funds that we've been allocated this year for $18,463. And so what we talked about is designating teachers for to do the actual tutoring, and then we can use those funds for salary and benefits, parent and care.
Okay.
And then also look at different curriculum and different things that we would need to get the program going. And then if there's any left over, we would have room for our reading interventionist for some of her salary. So we currently have one, so it would work out really great. I've been working on the 941 reconciliations for 24 so that the W-2s and the W-3s can go out. I contacted Holting to see how much it would cost. We have about 128 employees that they would do W-2 forms for. Now I can print it in our accounting software, but I kind of prefer to have Holting just kind of do the standard send out to the employees, and they'll do the W-3 online filing, so I don't have to do that. And then we had a kind of a blow with the PPR. Zhao, she's the senior accountant with D49, and I was told on the 13th that our PPR went down significantly, and thankfully it happened to enough people that I think CDE kind of got involved, because the next day it had gone up a little bit, but it's still not what we were doing when we did the original budget. So the original budget, we had 10,980.
Mm-hmm.
We're now receiving 10,973. So for that, it's only a $7 difference, but it is a $23 difference from what they told me in December. So
Got it.
don't know what happened there, but they after the stabilization factor, they gave us credit for our online folks and came up to 10,973. And then been working on a bus rental agreement. Apparently Markle has someone that is interested in using the bus. So we're looking at prices per mile, that kind of stuff. And then once that's done, Mrs. Summers will approve.
Okay. In terms of the buses, if we can get an estimate of what the anticipated mileage, does that make sense?
Yeah, so whoever's going to use the bus, they'll have to kind of have that all planned out for us, but
Okay.
we just don't have the actual framework to work within.
I see.
So that's
Mrs.
what
Russell
we're
said it was local.
Okay.
It was not so far away.
Okay.
And it's for a staff trip, it's not for kids, so it would be just the smaller bus. So yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know, if there's policies or anything that need to be written around that.
I can check with Dustin.
Okay.
Okay.
But that was it.
Can I go back to the Colorado Secure Savings Program?
Yeah.
There's a statement there saying that LTA has a comparable retirement plan, 401k, and para would be considered equivalent. So are they saying, from a school perspective, you don't have to use para, we can go create our own?
No, well, I mean, we do because we're a public school, but,
Yeah.
it had to do with all companies, and it had to be 401k. And we're equivalent to that, 401k-A, so, no.
So that way we don't have to pay into
So-
the Colorado Secure
Yeah.
Savings Program.
Okay.
And you have the option when a school first starts if you want to go there or not. But once you make the decision is made.
Oh, really? So
Yes.
teachers have the options not to?
No,
Or
the
the
school.
school?
The school.
Oh,
Once the
okay.
school makes the decision to join para, the
Yeah,
decision is
okay,
made.
it's made, gotcha. Thank you.
So for the D49 update, we have two behavior specialists that I had mentioned last time that had come out before break, that came out again last week to do a session with all of our teachers. And we broke into small groups to go to upper school, and we got some great feedback from all of our teachers as far as really helpful strategies that line up with LTA, because again, we worked with the behavior specialist to create this whole presentation. And so we had some really great feedback on that, and really kind of went along with this is, new semester, we're resetting, and so we had some great presentations with them. And then Hannah, that Mrs. Russell had forwarded along to me, came and also did a stop and lead training for about 10 of our staff members. And after going through that training, once she provides that, then there was like a Google form that we can fill out where they will give us another stop and lead kit. So we currently have two, one in each of our AED machines on the wall, and so we'll get a third one that we can either put in the front office or the health office. So we're waiting on that to come in. And then the district is coming tomorrow to present a brief presentation about the McKinney-Vento training, which is about our homeless students who are homeless. And they have to do that as a mandatory training for all of the schools. So she's coming tomorrow to present that after school to our staff.
Do we know if any of our students are experiencing homelessness?
I can double check on that. I know that we have some different situations that tend to fluctuate. So let me check out those.
With the behavior specialists that are coming in, are those provided by D49 or are those like independent people that you have found?
They're actually with D49, and then they're their trained behavior specialists, and so they came out with us twice and met with us as a team to create the presentations to make sure that it lined up with LTA.
Like with our vision and mission?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have copies of those presentations?
I do.
Can you forward them to the board?
Sure.
I'd love that.
Thank you.
And then just a couple of things, and Ms. Jentz can kind of help fill in on some of these. We've been researching best practices for family engagement and onboarding ideas in order to kind of enhance our enrollment. And so Ms. Jentz does a great job at helping look at just other wholesale schools and other local charters really just to see, best practices that are out there and how we can include those with LTA, as well as some volunteer things. So we have a page also behind the landscaping that talks about the volunteer things that we're kind of talking about. That was something that we have mentioned, that we talked about before, and really it's just looking at kind of upping the definition of what our volunteers are and kind of beefing up the expectations and things like that for our volunteers and having a good way of, again, currently we have a pretty small amount of people that regularly come in and volunteer, everyone's background checked, but this will kind of help us, if more parents want to come and help with athletic things or whatever, that we can, kind of start help tracking those things and kind of have a process for how parents can come in and volunteer at the school. So what you guys have is kind of what we've drafted and are kind of looking at, and then kind of looking at other schools, other Hillsdale schools as well, and how they kind of have their onboarding for their volunteers.
I wonder if we take the time between now and next, because we're going to have a discussion item on our amended agenda for the pet. If we have any recommendations that we want to discuss this piece specifically further for the next meeting.
Volunteer.
Yes.
Yes.
And Jenny, I'm sending that to you now, Jenny.
I know that in the pet bylaws, Stephanie was helping me out with that, and so we added a section speaking specifically about what we want our pet members to, how we want to vet them, and that specifically talks about background checks the same as our volunteers. So, yeah, it kind of ties in perfectly.
Do you know what section is that in?
That is section Article, I don't have a page number. Article 7, nominations and elections, section 1, the bottom bullet point.
Okay. Got it. And did you email this to Jenny?
I did not, but I did save it on the Google Drive.
Okay. So Jenny, if you want to look at that, it's on that Google Drive. The proposed bylaws.
Okay.
And then specifically the addition of, it was Article 7.
Did you put that in the meeting, like for today's meeting?
Just discussion item about it.
No. Did you put it in the file?
Oh, no, I did not.
Where was she?
It's in the drive. What drive?
Google Drive. Let me email it to everybody right quick.
He's going to email it. And then specifically they were highlighting Article 7, Section 1, last bullet, if you want to make a note.
Here.
Okay.
So yours is
Okay. Sorry, I kind of diverted us from our principal report.
Well, no, I think it fits in well, and I can share with you as well some information that Ms. Jensen and I have as far as websites that we can look at, because how some of the other schools have for their volunteers to go on and fill out some things on the website, and some ideas that we have from there, as well as I do have a list of our current volunteers at the school that all have their background checks.
Okay.
And are the ones that come to the school. So I do have that list as well.
Gotcha.
I had a quick question about an email that the board received, just talking about the credit list on the website not matching exactly to what we're currently offering. And just if we could look into that and the possibility of maybe going to the department heads and making sure that that all aligns. So that would be nice to look at.
Perhaps I know next week is an abbreviated week with Monday. Perhaps we could hear something more about that before Friday of next week or by Friday.
With the course list?
Yeah, specifically, I think there's just some misalignment And then I think there's a mistitling. It has something to do specifically with the type of history. I can pull that email.
I've got it pulled up. It talks about the modern America history is not correct, and it needs to be replaced with modern European world history. There is no modern American, as U.S. history covers from 1600 to present. So it looks like it's nothing major, but it'd be nice to have that cohesion.
Okay.
And then the last piece is just that I've been working with business office and Ms. Jens and really refining some of our processes for like clubs in order to create events, activities, and fundraisers so that there's a way to track the money that's coming in either through a fundraiser or that those clubs are needing to spend on things. And so, again, Ms. Miller's will be presenting that tomorrow to staff members. So that way everyone's kind of on the same page when it comes to, hey, I have a club and we would like to do this kind of thing. So that way anything, again, related to money goes through Ms. Miller and the business office as a better way of tracking.
Okay. All right.
I just finished.
Oh.
Do you think you could cover the athletics in about 5 minutes? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Middle school girls and boys basketball just finished the season. They qualified for the BFL playoffs. Top 8 teams in both boys and girls qualified. Girls played on Monday, boys played on Tuesday. Girls game was very, very close. Both teams were knocked out in the first round. High school girls and high school boys, as you see, they're playing tonight. We have a packed house. Building is completely full. Parking is full to the point where people are parking in the back. So it's a good night. Girls going into tonight are 4-4. After tonight, they're going to be 4-5. High school boys are 5-3. Ellicott's a good school tonight. They're a 3A school. We're playing tonight. Saturday's game has been rescheduled due to potential weather, and then we play Tuesday here against Simla. Middle school and high school track will begin on February 24th. Our numbers kind of keep going up. I had more kids swinging to my office today saying that they're going to come try out. Middle school and high school cheer, they leave for nationals next week in Dallas. This is the middle school team's first year ever qualifying. Right now, on paper, they are a top 5 team in the country in their division.
Wow.
High school girls right now, we're hoping to finish top 10. They will travel on Thursday morning. We'll sightsee a little bit Thursday night. Friday it is practice in gymnastics studios, opening ceremonies, watching Special Olympics of Texas do their cheer competition. And then we'll hit the ground running Saturday and Sunday with 2 different days of competition. With Sunday night, 9 o'clock, we will know where we placed in the country. And then we return on Monday. High school boys volleyball will begin towards the end of February. We're working on tryouts to see numbers for teams. Some of you probably have seen email shot out by Mr. Robbins with Google Forms just so we can get a better idea number. We've had a lot of kids swing in saying they're interested, but it's just trying to get that solidified going into the season. Same thing, working on trying to find some research funds, grant sponsorships to help grow the cheer team equipment. Middle school wrestling team for the 2025-26 school year. Prom has been running. This is their second night running 50-50 tickets at the basketball games to raise money for this year's prom. I think right now, last game they made, I think, just under $30. Tonight they're around 60 or 70 so far. That will be their cut. Cheer team will be heading to summer camp this June. It will either be going to the Colorado School of Mines or to the University of Northern Colorado. The team will decide that once we get back from nationals. High school basketball, girls and boys will be participating in Summer Ball League starting the first week of June all the way through the end of June. This includes a tournament up in Golden. We've also been invited to CU for a basketball camp. One thing I did put on there was our cross-country kids. We will be going to Arkansas. We have 2 kids that are being scouted by the University of the Ozarks. So we will be going out there with some of our kids for a summer camp in June as well. And then next week we'll get everything advertised. It's been the question of like the past month. When will we have little kid basketball, run club, cheer. All of those dates will be posted next week. We'll post them on Facebook. We'll send flyers home with the kids and little excerpts so they know. Cheer clinic will be in February. Run club was actually going to be on Fridays this year in April and beginning of May. And then basketball will be running throughout March and part of April. That's all I got.
Excellent, thank you. That was great. We may need you to just lead these board meetings from now on, I'm just saying. All right, very good, appreciate that. Okay, let's move on from principal report. Let's move into board discussion. First up is career and college plan presentation for board review. Ms. Eltagandi, we'll turn it over to you. And then if you have, you
I'm gonna
may.
make it short. I'm gonna make it short and sweet and to the point. I
No,
promise.
if you have a digital copy?
I don't at this second, but I will.
Okay.
I do have a hard copy for her.
We're
but I
gonna
can-
get you a digital copy maybe.
Yes.
It won't be timely, but we'll get it to you and then there's a hard copy for you here, Jenny.
So I'm just gonna make it short and sweet, but I went ahead and made it detailed.
Okay.
And I cannot take full credit. I've had a lot of help with this. I took a lot of ideas that a lot of the teachers, especially the upper school, gave me a ton of feedback. So if you guys go ahead and go to the very first page where you see the outline itself for the table of contents. So several things that we talked about was creating a short-term plan of what we need to do for this year. If you go to the first tab, it kind of gives you kind of like a real glimpse of what we need to do. We do have existing current enrollment classes. Mrs. Warebine, she has one student. Mr. Stradier is monitoring one online. Mrs. Rogers is also doing it online. Mr. Ballard is currently doing 6 11th graders for dual enrollment at Adams State. Mr. Markle has been working on a college. Oh, he's just sitting there. However, he and I had also been talking about potentially doing more, but just to finish the spring out, we are actually behind the mark if you compare to us to any other schools, whether it's charter or public, doesn't matter. We do not have a current college and career readiness coordinator. No ICAP meetings have taken place at all at this point for 9th through 12th grade. Speaking with other Hillsdale schools, they actually start them in 6th grade. They do not wait until their senior year, so we are definitely behind. So to get this short-term plan going, we need to identify, because this is impacting pretty much the, for us, I understand that we are 7th through 12th, but still 6th grade, it does need to truly begin.
Sure.
But to go slow to go fast, we need to fast track our 7th through 12th grader, or I'm sorry, our 11th and 12th graders this year to get them on board. I did speak with our data and assessment coordinator to help me because she is so well versed with all the academic pieces and especially with the assessment. She's the one that runs them all and knows data better than anybody. So she has agreed to help me support me with that. And of course, Mr. Markle has been tasked as of December to help with the college and things like that. So if you guys want to skip ahead to the first tab, you will see how I broke down their college and career readiness coordinator job descriptions a little bit.
Yeah.
What I'm going to task Mr. Markle with, what I'm going to task myself with, and then also Mrs. Hoffman. So that way we can get our juniors and our seniors on track as quickly as possible. But in the interim, we are also going to work with our freshmen and our sophomores as well. And once again, I do have a long-term plan. If you want, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me slow down, take a breath, but I want to respect everybody's time. So part of the short-term plan as well, I am working with Hillsdale. I'm also working with CSI to make sure that we are vertically aligned so that we are with D49 as well. And with our short-term goal, I have it broken down into each month from January 2025 all the way to May, what we need to do. I respect FAFSA is open year-round. I get that, but unfortunately, if you're trying to qualify for a Pell Grant, that's mid-February that's due. So we are behind the mark on that as well. So anybody trying to go into college at this point, they have to get their applications almost right away. There's several different things that we need to look at because without the ICAP meetings, we do have some friends that do have some goals. I met with some parents and spoke with them. They have been kind of doing things on their own without too much support, so that is where I'm going to do my best. However, I know that Mrs. Rogers, Mr. Chartier, Mr. Ballard, Mrs. Coleman's gone above and beyond. She's done senior seminars, the thesis. She's also taken on college field trips, things like that. And then also Mrs. Wainwright and Mrs. Weaver have done their best to try to help with this, but the problem is they're each doing a little bit of piece, and there's not one person doing it collectively. And, you know, it's a big ask, because this is a massive job for one person to really needs to do to stay on top of it, but to ask classroom teachers to have little pieces, it's very difficult for them. And so trying to respect their time, because it's taking time away from their classroom time. So our advantage, though, is because we are a small school, or a smaller school, I should say, so we do have that advantage. So there's two different options for the short-term goal. I did tailor it specifically for LTA, using what we do currently have and what we know. However, with what we are going to require for these seniors to graduate and then to move on, we've got to fast track this almost immediately, especially to make sure that we're making deadlines and things like that. However, there are internship opportunities. There are tons of college summer courses that students can take that are not concurrent enrollment and things like that. There are opportunities that even freshmen and sophomores can take. And that's where I'm going to, Mr. Markle doesn't know it yet, but I want to task him to help me build those relationships too. I don't know enough about this community college. That's why I want to really look into other colleges too. Western is a fantastic school. That is who our neighbors up north use. Majority of the Hillsdale schools use them. Seven Oaks, because they're in Indiana, they use a completely different university, but they felt that using a, an actual university versus a community college is best, because those credits go everywhere. However, one, I know that Adams State does not offer a stipend for teachers, and there's a little bit more pushback with the programming that they use, that we use. It's not matching. So, but with Western, there is a little bit more leniency. Like if students want to to follow through with UC, yeah, so they want to go to UNC, Northern Colorado. Those credits will transfer, and I think that's what's imperative. We want to make sure that any credits that they receive is something that's going to follow them to their next university. But this is something where those ICAP meetings come into play. We need to know that information. For example, we have a student, he said he wants to be a firefighter. Well, there were 3 summers that he could have done internships and he could have done shadowing to grow him and say, okay, is this really something I want to do? The same with that being said with a friend who wants to go to a trade school. He already knows what he wants to do. However, regardless of where the student decides they want to go, I want to support them. Another friend does want to join the military, but the thing of it is, he didn't know that if you get college credits, it builds up, and then your E rank gets adjusted with that. Had no idea, and he scored very well in his ASVAB, but they don't know what they don't know. So unfortunately, there's so many missing moving pieces that that's why we have to bring this together. So I think with our data specialist, Mrs. Hoffman, and Mr. Markle coming together, having the two of them, one doing the instructional piece and the other one building relationships, because we know he's really good at doing that. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to task him. I also did for a long-term goal. If you want to jump to the second tab, you will see the long-term goal. This is moving forward. But this is stuff that, for example, the district needs all this information before March. So even though we're fast tracking this year, we also need to be planned and prepped for next year as well. We can't wait on this. But this is freshmen through seniors, and we have to get this done. And if you look, follow it to the next page, you can see I did the life. So for example, if I'm a freshman coming into LTA this year, I went ahead and I created an entire academic goal plan from freshman to senior. Every school does this. If you go onto their websites, this is one of my favorite things. Not only does it have their graduation requirements, but it also shows exactly what courses are offered, what are dual, what are concurrent. That is all listed on their websites, and exactly which schools that they're using for these specific classes. Some also offer online. So for example, Cheyenne Mountain Charter School is a great example. If students want to take a foreign language that the school does not offer, they're offered to do it online. What they do is also have a library, so it's a little different, but they have a media lab in their library where students can go in there, and if you want to take French 4, which of course some schools don't offer, they can have the opportunity to take 4 different levels of French if it's not offered in that school online. So that is another opportunity that we could try to strive for it and try to look for it. But these are relationships that we have to build, and we need to build them quickly. Now, do we want to have relationships with 20 million different colleges? No. However, I do want our teachers who are doing the extra mile to get compensated for that. So that's where Mr. Markle is wrong when it comes to the stipends. This community college that he is referring to does offer a very good stipend, but I also want to see what other schools offer. But with that being said, I still want to see, do these college credits follow these students everywhere they go? Are they, universal, where if I decide I want to go to this college, am I going to be able to use them? So that just gives you, but these are all tentative. These are not things that are like, oh, this is an absolute. The second part is the college and career readiness goal sheet. This is a goal sheet that with the advisor, it's a one-to-one, and this is where the ICAP comes in. What are your goals? And this needs to start in 6th grade. And it also teaches them and shows them where I want to be moving forward and what do I need to do to accomplish to get there. Some students, even like myself, get jobs in middle school. Sometimes it's just a couple hours a week. It's mowing grass, it's entrepreneurship, it's all these things. But where are these opportunities? Where is the volunteering? Things like that. Volunteering through Red Cross. There's so many opportunities that are just not being presented. So I think if we give these students options, this is really going to broaden their horizons, especially when they do things like that. I know I was just given an idea earlier. I can't take credit for myself, but for example, like we have digital media, having students come in here, and this is not my idea, so I'm not taking credit for it, but having students come in here and they run the camera. They run the audio, they run the AI that does the board minutes. So things like that, there's so many opportunities that these students can get additional credit. Because at the end of the day, we're building their resume. We're giving them work experience, and it's still all in collaboration with Hillsdale. Because what they do outside of school, if we support them and we get summer internships, we get summer workshops. For example, if a student's working at Burger King gives $1,000 for scholarships. If just for working there. But some students don't know how to fill out scholarship forms. That's where we need to come in. That's where we need to show them where the money is and how to get these things and acquire them. Because sometimes you have almost 5 to 7 years to use those scholarships. So if we can have freshmen start accruing those scholarships now and accruing those grants and learn how to write for their own grants, their own scholarships, and that's where this all comes in. So that jumps into where you see the student advisory class syllabus. We already have SA classes starting in 6th grade. They're not being utilized to their potential. It's great for students to get their homework on time. Right now it's 23 minutes. I wish it would be a little more. Unfortunately, it's not structured. So these are just 2 different options. One is the first student advisory syllabus. There's a second one. That one ties in not only our values for LGA, but also our core virtues. And what it would be is basically it's a professionalism class. So during essay, not only will they be responsible for their homework, their grades, things like that, they will also be responsible working with, and I did talk to the teachers, and I just double-checked before I volunteered this, if essay were to be extended back to the original times it used to be in our original schedule that we used to have, is this something that could be doable in the 35, 40 minutes you used to have, using essay and utilizing that time to create like a professionalism class. I've learned this from Seven Oaks. Their headmaster runs their own class. He's in the classroom. He runs their government, he does their economics because that's what his degree in. But he also, for his senior, I know some people call it senior seminar, he runs their professionalism class. He calls it something fancy that Seven Oaks uses, which I think is pretty clever. But he runs that for their seniors, and I thought that was really creative as a leader to be in the classroom himself. And I thought that would be a fantastic opportunity for us to even use our skills as leadership. I respect we're super busy, I get it, but sometimes we have the skills that we could also share, because we all have master's degrees. And we're very limited right now with the current people who can offer those concurrent enrollment dual classes because they don't have enough teachers with master's degree at our secondary level. So that is just also something to think about as well. And then I did go ahead and I added at the very back our graduation requirements. First is Golden View and Seven Oaks. So these are the 2 schools I purposely have been speaking with, because Seven Oaks I had the honor of touring. It's a fantastic school. And they have come so far, and the same with with Golden View as well. Golden View goes above and beyond what the state requires and what their county requires. They go ahead and go the extra 5 credits. However, they also encourage students to do summer internships, and they help set all of that up. interviews, do mock interviews. And that's where utilizing these student advisory classes. And the other thing I wanted to suggest, and this was something I spoke with the teachers, is what we call the looping effect. So let's say hypothetically, and Mrs. Rogers, I'm sorry, I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say Mrs. Rogers is in charge of the seniors this year. Well, then next year she loops to freshmen. And then she starts with as their advisor. She's not the college and career readiness person, but it's like a chain of command. It's always supported. That person is still running everything else, but she supports them and follows them through that student advisory. She loops with them through sophomore, junior, and then senior year until they graduate, and then loops again. In a perfect world, we have 60 students per grade. That's our cap for 240 for high school at this point. However, that could be something where it could be a team. So let's say hypothetically per team, Mr. Ballard, Mr. Castro, the three of them, they each have 20 students. They're in charge of the freshmen. Then when they loop to sophomore all the way to they graduate, and then they start it again. After, I want to start with this first, with our 9th through 12th, because I feel like we're behind the ball. But to go slow to go fast, then we need to revisit how we want 7th and 8th grade to look as well. We need to prep them for high school and also prep them for things like this as well. I want to get them in because ICAP meetings at other schools are starting far earlier. If you even look at what D49 offers on their website, it is detailed. I apologize, I have the copies in my office of what Golden View uses, but if you look on their website, it's everything that a 9th grader, and the parents are well aware when the ICAP meetings are taking place. They're 4 times a year per grade. Seniors, it's a little bit more often. Juniors, it's a little bit more often. But it needs to be an ongoing thing. This is just not one thing. It's like not a one and done. This is something that's going to be ongoing, and these are growing documents. But at the same time, it's putting all the accountability on the students. It's making them. But at the end of the day, we're growing and producing self-governing citizens, and this follows exactly what our mission and vision is. But at the same time, it's these amazing teachers that are supporting them along the way. So, but that's that. So hopefully, and like I said, it's all tentative. It's not in stone, and I typed it fast, so I apologize if there's typos. But it was just something that I just threw. It's things that I've already been working on, but something that I really think that would be beneficial to our school.
No, this is helpful. Just so we can kind of drill in on what you need from us. So there's 2 options for the short term, and Jenny, we'll get you a copy of this.
Yes.
As I look at the 2 options that you have here, it looks like the first one in the book has a 4 pieces, 1 through 4. It looks like option 2 has 3. Nope, sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Yeah, has 3. So if I'm prioritizing, if we need to move a little bit more quickly, at least at first.
Yep.
January seems, there's not much of January left.
Correct.
I wonder if it makes sense to prioritize the second one, just because it looks a little bit more abbreviated.
Okay.
But I think we owe you some intentional feedback. So maybe what we can do as a board is by Tuesday, we give you our feedback as to which option we think.
Okay.
But if we can prioritize looking at the short-term goal, I think the second option, at least as laid out, and maybe we need to name it option 1, option 2, so that when you get it, it's clear.
In the table of contents, that's what I labeled it, and I mean this is tentative. We can change anything that we need.
Okay.
I know that there are some areas that I missed because some of the assessments Mrs. Hoffman has already completed.
Okay.
And there was another thing too that I found out today as well that I didn't know was a thing. Students, even though they're in high school and even though we're a Hillsdale school, they can take the CLEP test as well and test out of and get credits for that. So even though it doesn't count towards our graduating credits, it counts towards their college credits.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that I'm slowly learning through this process because I'm learning as I go as well.
Sure.
So that was one of the things. It's just like those little tiny things, but those are things students need to know as soon as possible, like what they can do to really grow themselves.
So why don't we do this? Maybe.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
She had referenced Golden View, had it online, had some, to look online at Golden View.
Yeah.
What was the other school? I couldn't hear her.
7 Oaks.
Seven Oaks Classical.
Oh, 7 Oaks. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the one I got to tour back in September in Indiana.
And I think 7 Oaks, if you're on Hillsdale's website, they actually have some of their like academic advisors or something for their structure that actually comes from Seven Oaks. So,
Yes.
right. Yeah, quite a bit. So then let's do this. If you could email me by Tuesday, take a good look at option 1 and 2, because I think we owe it, as opposed to just this brief, to really say, hey, this is the option that we think we need to go
I
with.
can't make a decision right now. But
Sure.
We do need to move.
And then I owe you something no later than Tuesday. If you can get it sooner to me, then I can
And if there's
consolidate it.
anything I need to add or change, I'll send you guys all the digital copy, and then you guys just add your notes, whatever you think
Perfect.
needs to be added, and
Okay.
anything that I've missed.
Jenny, does that work?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for doing this. I have a feeling that we'll need to be updating our website once we have a solid path ahead.
And then the plan moving forward would be hiring a college and career readiness advisor.
Correct. I think that's something that we need to probably give some serious consideration to. And then obviously what that means to potential budget. And then the other, there's something else I was just going to.
Position that needs to be prioritized.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. You mentioned something about a hard time for March. You said we owe something to
Yeah,
D49 by
yes.
March.
So I have a meeting with the district next week, Thursday, but we have deadlines that are approaching that they need to have our schedules and everything by March of this year for next year.
Okay.
So what classes we are offering, and if we are offering any college courses or anything like that next year, they need to know what those are.
Okay. So then what I think I'll do is, I think they have a meeting on February 20th. I'm going to make this a discussion item so that
Okay.
we can make sure that we're moving forward
Okay.
to
And
hit
then I'm
that
gonna
March
see if
timeline.
Mr. Markle can get specific with the college that he has in mind, because the man's name is Joe that he's been speaking to. However, we need to also see like what more we can get from Western, because they offer a lot through Golden View.
Sure.
That is concurrent enrollment on their website as well. And they also pay the equivalent stipend of this community college.
Got it. All right. So yeah, so our next meeting is February 20th. I'm going to make this a discussion item so that we can keep talking college and career readiness. Sorry, I'm just making a note. Perfect. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. All right, let's move on to past meeting minutes. Stephanie, I saw some emails.
Those have been sent out.
Okay. Does anybody have any thoughts, concerns with the past meeting minutes?
Any updates to version 3?
No. Jenny, are you good?
I'm good with version 3.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yes, truly. Any other mentions on past meeting minutes? Seeing nothing, let's move on to land update. Andy, I'm gonna turn it over to you if you have any
Yeah,
updates.
Woodman Hills has officially closed on
It did.
that piece of property, so
Okay.
that is now theirs. I had a conversation with them this afternoon about kind of the next steps, and it's kind of a hurry up and wait. I made it clear that it's something that we want to see if we can take advantage of and
Okay.
see if we can utilize in partnership with them, and it's something they're still extremely open to. And now it goes on to the next step where they start to look at kind of their grand ideas for that piece of property. So
Okay.
that's a huge thing that they have now closed on that land.
Does it make sense to include this, continue the updates for the March 20th meeting, or do you think that's too premature and maybe we should just let them?
How about I can do that under my board members report.
Okay. that works.
That way it doesn't have to be on the
Okay.
agenda, and if there's anything, then I can share, and if
Okay.
not, it doesn't have to be, on.
Works. Okay. Great.
All right.
Parent engagement team, Andy.
So, I've got, finalized proposed bylaws that I gave everybody a printout for. And Jenny, I saw you got it online. My hope would be that we could look through this, and if you guys have any additional changes you want made, to let me know. I can get those done, circulated, so that we can vote on this at the next board meeting. And that leads us directly into one thing I wanted to mention is per these bylaws, there are 2 board members that need to be at each PET meeting. And one of them is the treasurer, and then the other one is not specified. And I thought that might, well, actually Stephanie thought that it'd be a good idea if that was kind of a rotation of other board members. I like that idea a lot because it's hard to nail down 2 things every month. And it also gives the entirety of the board kind of that front-facing opportunity, and also that everybody on the board can really be apprised of what's going on. With that being said, we would need to look at setting up all of the members for the PET. There are multiple members and committees laid out, and for the first one, the first iteration of the PET membership would be us appointing people. So I would love any and all suggestions about how to start getting parent interest in this even before next board meeting. I don't know if that's something we can add to the website and can add my email to that so that we can start getting engaged parents to get our team together.
I'm trying to think the easiest way to receive feedback. Is it a Google form of some sort with interest? Is there, like, how would we consolidate those that may have an interest? Let's assume that we put something out in the next email saying that this is coming, to kind of announce it. How do you want to be a point person to receive those inquiries?
Yeah, I can do that.
Or we can figure out another way where it's rolled up someplace and then you can go get it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like the idea of, if you're wanting to be a member of the PET, that we give you an avenue to make that first step, but that first step is yours to make. And so if we circulate it out with a short form that they can fill out, just quick contact information, lay out what the requirements needed to be on the PET, and maybe a little blurb about themselves, then I can gather those and get those. I'm trying to think how I would present those to the board. If you guys want it just a weekly, hey, these are applications, or if we want to do something with a committee where we get applications and actually hold some interviews and so on and so forth, because we do need to appoint the 9 members to get this up and running.
Okay. So we're not going to adopt these bylaws until at least February 20th.
My hope would be on February 20th, we could adopt them.
Okay. So could you put together, maybe, given what the criteria is to be a member?
Yep.
So that folks know if they qualify, right?
Yep.
Maybe put in some hard dates as to when we would need at least
An application.
just a little structured outline.
Okay.
And if we can put it on one page,
Okay.
maybe that can be something that's attached. And then I assume we do, and I'm going to show some my lack of intelligence here when it comes to, I'm not necessarily the brightest person when it comes to digital communications of sorts, but can we link to whatever the product is that he's going to create? And then that way it doesn't necessarily have to be this big piece included, but they can click on that will take them to it. They can complete that. And then maybe if you have questions in the meantime, we can just refer to Andy's LTA email address. Does that work?
Yeah.
Then there's one point of contact, and there's also a timeline and a structure.
So like, would you create a Google form? 'Cause
Yeah.
we can put the link on there, and we can put it on the website, I can email it out to all of our families, and I can put it on our family Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to leave no stone unturned, so that we could make sure that everybody in the LTA community knows of the opportunity. I would hate for it to be underwhelming.
Sure.
I can say that.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, you share that with me, and then I'll get it out on all three of
Let me create it, and I'll go for Tuesday deadline on that too.
Sorry to put more work on you.
It's exciting. It seems like there are big things happening.
Yeah. Okay, and then anything else on that? Hearing nothing. Principal hiring procedures. Jenny, I didn't see the email that you sent. Did you send that?
Yeah, awesome.
Is it in your outbox, maybe?
I've got it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Did I send it to your wrong email?
I don't know. Maybe. Let me look. Hold on.
I'm looking.
It went.
I wonder if.
Email.
Yeah, it went to the Gmail. Hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
No. It's
That was my
fine.
bad.
Let me see if I can. I have it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. No worries.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah. Do you mind?
Yeah. So, part of the board resolution back in July or August said that we would, that the principal hiring committee would make a recommendation as far as a principal hiring timeline. And I think we got so caught up in other things that we may or may not have done that. But now that the position has officially closed, I think it's good for us to reestablish a timeline. So this is something that Tim and I threw together earlier today. And so basically applications are received. Applications close on January 5th. They will be made available to any LTA board members and any other agent that the board engages in the hiring process. So if we decide to utilize, an outside agency like X8 to help us in the process, or our attorney, this just allows us to share information there. All applications will be reviewed by January 31st. And then the principal hiring committee, which I believe is Tim and Stephanie with Andy as an alternate, will conduct, they'll reach out to anybody that they want to reach out to and kind of do a preliminary screening / interview. And then they will narrow down the number of applicants from there and make a recommendation to the board by February 10th via email as to which ones they are considering. If they deem that the applicant pool is insufficient, then they'll repost the position immediately. After that, at our next board meeting, which would be February 20th, in executive session, we will review the candidates submitted by the principal hiring committee in the first phase, and then we will announce the finalists per Colorado state law. And then we will also appoint a committee of board members who will interview all finalists. All information requests regarding the candidates should be directed to the principal hiring committee. After the board has named the principal finalists, we will accept, we have to post their application. That has to be posted publicly for 10 days. So once we name the principal finalists, we will accept written comments from the public and consider the same we'll have a special session on March 6th. And then we will make our final selection. We will meet in executive session on March 13th, which I think falls before fall break. And then we will provide a recommendation. The principal hiring committee or the committee will provide a recommendation for the first and second choice and salary range, and then we will decide at that point in time who to offer a first choice and second choice candidate, and then engage our attorney, Justin Sparks, to negotiate the terms of employment, and that should be done by March 13th. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the policy. And so I just wanted to put it out there, and hopefully we can get this done today.
What's the dates for spring break?
The 17th.
17th through 21st.
17th through 21st. So I think these dates are fine then, Jenny.
So rather than the third Thursday, we'd meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first and the second, because
Right.
we'd have to have that special board meeting just time wise. Because the issue is that if we delay it past spring break, then we run into a problem that, I mean, we're going to be missing some good applicants, and we don't quite want to wait that long, I don't think. So unfortunately, we'll have to do back to backs, but I think that just makes sense for the better of the school.
Let's do it.
Okay. Any thoughts on the process?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Very good. All right.
The only question I have is, I know that Jenny has laid out in the past a way to have 3 members of the board on a committee meet with still, within the sunshine laws. So that's my one question is.
Do you want me to do you want me just to go over that real quick?
Yes.
I would love that.
What the rules are?
Yes.
So we can have a board meeting, we can have a special board meeting. We can have a special board meeting so if you have more than 2 members, it's a meeting, right? So if we want to have 3 members, if we want to have all 3, like if we want Andy, Stephanie, and Tim to be able to sit down and talk, the only thing that they have to do is provide notice to everybody on that committee in writing at least 10 days in advance of the meeting date, unless you guys waive it in writing to be less than 10 days. And then you just have to post a notice, has to be a public meeting. You have to post notice that it's going to be a public meeting. But you can meet anywhere as long as the notice is posted in our ordinary course of business 24 hours before, and it's in public, then 3 or more people can meet. So it doesn't have to be everybody on the board. It doesn't have to be a big, long, drawn-out process. You just have to post a short agenda, and, it can be a special meeting. The agenda is, discussion on principal candidates, interviewing principal candidates, whatever. I think if you want to interview, I think that there is a way that you can do that within like an executive session. We'd have to check with Dustin on the actual language on that, but there are ways to do that without violating sunshine laws. That is pretty simple.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing a note.
But yeah, it's just notice. I mean, so you can decide on Tuesday that you want to have a meeting on Thursday. Everybody say, yay, we agree, and then post it on Wednesday.
Okay.
Which I think for this process is likely going to have to happen anyhow for like when we want to interview people. If the whole board's interviewing, we're going to have to notice that. And I can go back and ask Dustin or Tim, you can, on the actual.
Yeah. I just wrote a
what
note.
exactly, what notice we have to put down, but.
Yeah, I just wrote a note to contact Dustin. Okay. Anything else? Any questions from anyone?
And that actually might be able to be a working session, Tim.
Yes.
I think that ends up being a working session. It doesn't have to be a special session. A special session, I think, only has to happen if there's going to be action taken.
Right. You're talking about the March 6th.
Any of it, like, so if we're interviewing or whatever, and there's more than 2 board members.
Well, the March
meeting and
13th.
discussing, you can do it can be any date. You
Yeah,
just
sure.
have to provide the notice. And if people need to waive, but I'm saying it can be a working session, not a special session.
Sure. I'm pulling up my calendar really quick. So the March 20th meeting, that would be the 3rd Thursday, that'll fall during spring break. So if we do our regularly scheduled meeting, but we do it on the 13th the week before, that would just be a regular meeting. We could, I see your point though, for March 6th, make that a working session and not necessarily have it be a full-fledged meeting. Or if we need any other dates, make those working sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's move on to public comment. I will read this and then we'll see if we have any public comment. We appreciate and welcome comments on Liberty Tree Academy school operations and programs. We ask that your comments be made in a respectful and orderly manner. Follow-up action items may be assigned to the appropriate board or staff member depending upon the comments. During public comment, board members may choose not to respond to any comment made in public session. In accordance with board policy, public participation is limited to 3 minutes per person. Thank you for participating in our public comment forum. Let me see if we have any takers on public comment. We have one taker on public comment. Let me open up my.
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yep,
Okay.
3 minutes.
Andy is the timekeeper.
Well, we had 10 people who all gave me their time, so I'll be here for 30 now.
All right, on you.
So my second grader asked me to reach out to the board tonight regarding some of the language that the other second graders were using. I'll take that up with my favorite principal, Vice, and principal tomorrow, here nor there. Instead, as I came driving into the parking lot tonight, and I was greeted by a gigantic white truck coming in the wrong direction, I would like to know if it's possible for the board to invest in some sort of signage, perhaps, or possibly also some speed bumps that we can lay in that parking lot. And then my real dream item would be a different road that leads around, as I am a walker in the morning. And on more than one occasion, I have been nearly hit by cars driving through there as they try to get over to the drop-off area because, heaven forbid, they have to walk into the front door. So, yeah, if we get some money out there, that'd be great. I would like some signage. Do not block crosswalk. That would be a great one. Maybe we could just station a police officer out there who would love to give misdemeanors out to people. Repaint some lines, that would be great. Speed bumps, as I mentioned, reroute drop-off traffic, and that'd be great. Any of that, I don't know if that's board-worthy or not, but I would love it if you guys could find some money for that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So just so I'm clear, when you say speed bumps, you mean speed bumps within our parking lot,
Absolutely.
not on Eastonville.
If you can put them on Eastonville, that'd be great.
Okay.
If I can get a crosswalk on Eastonville, that'd be even better.
So, okay, so we can look into the speed bumps on our parking lot, like on our property. In terms of like an actual crosswalk and signage and whatever, the county actually has a plan, which I have seen. I think it's in multiple phases that would do some work out there for purposes of a crosswalk and whatever else. Phase 1, I believe, is supposed to actually start this summer. They're trying not to do any of that work in front of the school while the school year is actually in the throes of it. So maybe what I need to do is, as we get more towards the end of the year, the academic year this year, is see if we can get a presentation from the county as to what that might look like during one of our meetings, so that the community at large can see what that is going to look like. But there is something templated. It's a phased operation. I don't know how much of it they would do summer 25, because I think there's another piece that they would plan on doing summer 26. But they do have a drawing and ideas as to what would happen there, specifically for crosswalk, sidewalks, and other things.
Well, then our crosswalk out here by the War Eagles with the little stars definitely needs to be repainted. And I will spot someone $40 to put up a sign that says "Do not block crosswalk," because I will continue to walk into cars to prove a point, because I don't care.
Sure.
It makes me feel bad, and I'm all for it.
Okay. All right.
Well, I can agree with you that signage going to the vehicle tonight and going the wrong direction, we've put up a sign, but the angle of the sign versus it, something I think does need to be done about it, because it tends to be an issue, especially more for games and visiting fans, but there's still times when people go the wrong way. So a little bit more stimuli.
And I obviously was not the person in the white truck because I'm not at the meeting.
I figured it was Andy, but
That's why she's not here. She saw you.
And I refuse to go the wrong way no matter what time of day.
I would also highly recommend some spikes you see at Disneyland parking lot.
My kids went to LTA before the parking lot was done, right? And so I continue to come in the way that I came in, when the school was first opened, which is now the wrong way.
Yep.
So, and then every single time I turn in and I go, oh my goodness, I'm not supposed to be going this way. I do agree that we can have better signage.
I mean, I feel like all we have to do is put up a do not enter.
Right,
sign.
enter, exit, do not enter, yes.
On your topic though, too, I don't know what our relationship is with El Paso County Sheriff's Department. I feel like we could booster their fines if we offered to have a police officer sit out there during.
He's on
Well,
the
he's-
curb and he gives about 10 a
Does
month by
he?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
in,
good.
he's in a black,
Yes, he's
He-
right,
he's
right
in a-
at this curb and
vehicle.
he just waits.
Is the
If they
Yeah.
just came like 100 feet this way, he'd get more money.
well, and
Like,
people
would make so much of the
rip.
people fly down East
Yes.
Eagle in the morning or when they're
Mr.
releasing
Jones and
students?
our other crosswalk volunteer has almost been hit multiple times.
I'm not surprised.
There's a couple of
insane.
times I've thought about eking my truck into that intersection with when Mr. Jones is out there, because yeah, there are some cars you can tell they don't see him.
Mm-mm.
Even
And even though he's wearing the bright colors, and that was one of the things we talked about in the staff meeting yesterday, is getting a light sign, the LED lights,
Yep.
but they're $900. However,
I could.
I know we
make a
could
room.
probably make one, but at the end of the day, I don't know what to do for them in the interim until that gets fixed, because it is, and one day when I was out there, because I wear a big bright red coat on purpose, but yes, I've almost been hit multiple times.
I drive down Union a lot for work in the morning during school hours, and they always have they have flashing signs saying school is in session, like this is the time you must be 20 miles an hour. I'm curious if that's part of the community proposal, the district, or
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I thought there was talk about an actual intersection.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Okay.
They have a full drawing
Yes.
with signage, with,
Would that
A
change our
light.
parking lot if we did an intersection?
No.
Oh, okay.
It'd be right on our exit, and so there'd
Correct.
just be.
Gotcha, okay.
yeah. So I will see if I can get something organized, because I have a feeling that this will become a topic of interest, I guess.
Can we throw in a sidewalk down that road that everybody parks along to?
No, I believe a
I
sidewalk
think kids
is.
almost get hit there so many times.
I believe sidewalk is part of this, if I recall correctly. I've seen the drawing twice, but it was while Mr. Manley was here, so I haven't seen it in a while. But
Yeah, that'd be great to bring back.
okay. Let's move on to executive session. We just have two matters. We have items B and C. A is just disclosure that we may be connecting with our attorney, but specialized details for security arrangements or investigations specifically to discuss security procedures and process. And then finally, personnel matters specifically to discuss principal hiring process. If I could have a motion to move into executive session.
I'll make a motion to move into executive session at 8:14.
Okay. And a second.
Second.
Any objection? Seeing no objection, let's go ahead and move into executive session. Jenny, I'll just take the phone. If anyone needs to use the restroom or something, we can, try and shoot for 5 minutes. All right. We are back. Moving on to item 12, we have 2 action items. First is past meeting minutes. If I could have a motion to adopt our past meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the past meeting minutes that Stephanie completed.
Very good. Second?
Second.
Very good. Any objection? Seeing no objection, we have adopted our past meeting minutes. We just need to get those on our website. And then finally, the principal hiring procedure that we did during discussion. If I could have a motion to adopt our principal hiring procedures.
Motion to adopt our
Okay.
principal hiring procedures.
Very good. And a second?
Second.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. And any objection? Seeing no objection, we have our principal hiring procedures. That brings us to item number 13, which is announcements. Any announcements?
2 upcoming meetings.
In March. Well, we have our
February
first meeting, we have our February 20th. That one will stick for sure. March 6th, according to the principal hiring procedures, and then March 13th, and then obviously spring break for that, which would be the March 20th meeting, which we won't be doing. Seeing no other announcements, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.